In late July, a self-described eyewitness finally emerged, a former US Army Green Beret named Anthony Aguilar, who had been dismissed as a security contractor for the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. News organizations, including the BBC and PBS, websites, and numerous podcasts, carried interviews with Aguilar in which he was described as a whistleblower and admitted to alleged barbaric tactics and war crimes on the part of the US security contractors and the Israel Defense Forces, IDF. Nobody seemed to mind that the accompanying footage from Aguilar's body camera showed not a single killing. Aguilar's most heartrending story, in which he claimed to have been kissed by a grateful Palestinian boy whose killing he then witnessed, was later found to have been fabricated in every detail. The boy was never shot and remains alive. At the time of writing, 4 days after Aguilar's claims have been fully discredited in early September, neither the BBC nor PBS has amended their earlier coverage. As consumers of this kind of evidence-free content, ordinary citizens can be divided into roughly 4 categories, depending on the topic at hand. Some of us accept unverified information out of naked bias. In the case of the Gaza food aid story, millions of our fellow citizens in the West require no evidence to embrace the familiar and uncomplicated fable of Israeli or Jewish evil. Indeed, facts or even nuances are highly inconvenient for these consumers, who then must take the trouble to cancel or willfully ignore the purveyors of such evidence. Others of us respond with what might be called learned ignorance. This fast-growing group has simply never been taught how to distinguish fact and fiction, let alone fact and claim. On the contrary, their education includes fewer and fewer examples of objective inquiry, the scientific method, and the principle of innocence until proven guilty, but many classroom hours of propaganda and critical theorizing that condemns the disfavored without a hearing. In today's post-truth information environment, the learned ignorant are society's babes in the woods. A third group of us go along to get along. We conform, or appear to conform, via our social media likes, our cocktail party commiserations, our bumper stickers, or simply our silence. This is how we avoid the professional or social consequences of perceived dissent from the prevailing narratives of powerful in-groups. It is one thing to set your drunken uncle straight at a family dinner, but it is quite another to question the chosen dogma of your CEO, your pastor, your university dean, or a vaunted international organization on the issue of the moment. The final group of us is simply exhausted and fully expects the discussion to move on regardless of what we do. Where Gaza is concerned, defenders of Israel instinctively discount the atrocity claims, while many other observers are broadly numb to narrative-driven stories designed to outrage one tribe or the other without evidence on almost every issue of the day. They recall that in the last few years, millions of their fellow Americans of all backgrounds and strata have been led to believe not only that their principal ally in the Middle East committed mass murder of aid-seeking civilians, but also that a Ukrainian president enriched himself on US foreign aid intended to fight Russia, that multiple elections were stolen, and that swarms of unidentified flying objects invaded New Jersey. And that is a greatly truncated list.